Before I tell you this story, think about being alone in a car, late at night. No music, no passengers, just you, the road, and the dark pressing in. Now, imagine you look in the rear-view mirror and someone is sitting in the back seat. This happened to Daniel Marsh, 27, newly moved and living alone. His old car broke down beyond repair, so Daniel did what many do. He went on Craigslist. He found a 2004 black Honda Accord. The seller was just M. No last name, no photo. Daniel messaged at 11 p.m. The reply came in minutes. "Come see it tonight. I need to go urgent." He drove to an old neighborhood. Lights were off. It was midnight. A woman in her 60s, dressed like she'd been waiting, answered. She barely spoke. She showed him the car. The engine started first try. He handed over the cash. She handed back the keys and signed title. Then, one thing before going inside. Don't let it sit in the dark for too long. She doesn't like being alone. For the first week, nothing happened. The car ran perfectly. Daniel almost forgot the woman's strange comment. Then, on the 8th night, driving home around 10 p.m., he reached to change the radio. When he looked up, the rear-view mirror was tilted, just slightly, like someone had brushed against it. He was almost home when the radio changed on its own. Classic rock dropped mid-song. Then an old 1950s station, slow and calm, and then a woman's voice came. Not a DJ, not an ad. Low and close, like someone speaking from the back seat. "You left the light on." Daniel pulled over, heart hammering. He turned the radio off, sat in silence. He told himself, old car, old wiring, radio interference. These things happen. He drove home and tried to forget it. But that night, he couldn't sleep because he kept thinking about what the voice said. "You left the light on." He lived alone. He hadn't left any lights on. 2 nights later, Daniel had a friend over, Pete. They took the Accord to grab food. 20 minutes in, Pete went quiet. Daniel figured he'd dozed off, but when he looked over, Pete was wide awake, face drained of color, staring at the back seat. Daniel looked in the rearview mirror. There was a shape in the back seat, not clear, not distinct, but the shape of a woman, seated, upright, watching them. Daniel hit the brakes. Pete was already out before the car stopped. They both stood on the curb, looked through the rear window. The back seat was empty. Pete refused to get back in. Called an Uber. Didn't speak to Daniel for 3 weeks. Daniel drove home alone, eyes strictly forward, refusing to check the mirror. He could feel something watching him from behind. When he finally parked and looked back, the seat was empty. But the imprint in the cushion, the dent you get when someone has been sitting there, was fresh. Daniel almost sold the car, but passing it on without warning felt wrong. So he kept it. A week later, looking for his registration, he opened the glove compartment behind the manual and insurance paper, a small, unsealed envelope. Inside, a photograph and a folded note. The photograph was of a young woman, mid-20s, sitting in the back seat of a black Honda Accord. normal photo, except the eyes were wrong, not obviously wrong, just the smile didn't reach them. They looked at the camera like something unafraid, because you know it should be afraid of you. The note said, her name was Clara. She died in this car. She never made it out. Please don't try to make her leave. It only makes her angry. On the back of the photograph, in handwriting he didn't recognize, 3 words. She's still here.
He searched for Clara. 2 days of digging, he founded a local news archive from 2009. Clara Hennessy, 24 years old, found dead in a black Honda Accord on a county road due to the release of carbon monoxide. Car is currently running in a closed garage. There was no foul play. The garage belonged to her mother. Her mother, who had sold Daniel the car 15 years later. Daniel was in the car when he found this. Car was parked in a grocery store lot. The moment he found her name, the radio turned on by itself. Same station and same old music. Then it stopped, mid-song, and through the static, unmistakably clear sound came Daniel. He threw the door open, stood in the parking lot, breathing hard. It was a normal Saturday afternoon, so nobody noticed much. When he looked back into the car, radio was off, like it had never turned on. But on the fogged passenger window, something had been written from the inside. One word was there: stay. Now Daniel drove to Clara's mother's house. He needed answers. The woman answered the door. Same clothes, somehow, like she hadn't moved in weeks. She looked at him a long moment, then said quietly, I wondered when you'd come back. She told him everything about Clara, that she was deeply troubled, isolated, obsessive. Spent most of her time in the car, sleeping in it, eating in it. After Clara died, the car sat untouched for over a decade. Then things started happening in the house, lights turning on by themselves, the smell of exhaust in rooms with no car, a woman's voice from the garage at night, humming. Clara's music. The mother couldn't take it. Put the car on Craigslist, told herself Clara would follow it. Follow whatever she'd left of herself behind the wheel. The mother looked at Daniel the way someone looks at a person they feel sorry for, but not sorry enough to take the burden back, she said. She picked you for a reason. Clara only stays somewhere she feels comfortable. Be grateful that she has chosen you, and you should now stay with her. Daniel drove home slowly. The drive took 40 minutes, a route that should have taken 15. The GPS had taken him in a wide loop through back roads he'd never seen. Like something was guiding it, like something wanted more time. More time with him. Daniel didn't sleep that night, all lights on, watching the car from his window. Nothing moved. The car just sat there, dark and still and somehow patient. Around las 3 de la mañana, the interior light came on. Just for a moment, just long enough to make out the shape in the back seat. Same shape. Same tilted head. Same waiting posture. Daniel walked to the window, put his face to the glass. The figure in the back seat turned its head and looked directly up at his window. I spoke to Daniel 6 months after these events. He still has the car. Both buyers backed out within 48 hours. He can't abandon it either. He drives it every day now. Radio stays off. He doesn't check the rearview mirror. He puts a bag on the back seat so he doesn't have to see whether the cushion is depressed or not. Near the end of our conversation, he said quietly, almost embarrassed, sometimes I don't mind her. It's like she's just there, watching. And after a while, you get used to it, Tenepo said. The nights she's quiet are actually scarier, because then I know she's thinking.